What's up everyone, Dr. Hops here with another update on IronHops and SkillerHops. Let's hop right to it. We left off last episode having finished Desert Treasure, trying to figure out where to go next. I figured out that I still needed to do some other quests for the rest of Recipe for Disaster, including Hero's Quest, which I did. Lots of shenanigans there, but we made it through alright. When I looked at Legends Quest afterwards, I realized I was one herb lore level and one smithing level away from the requirements. So, I got the smithing level before doing some brainstorming about the herb lore level. We decided to go for Edgar's Ruse because of the XP and the Trollheim teleport. I have already been trolled by the Trollheim teleport before. Alright. Nope. You know your back was turned! I may have gotten trolled by the Trollheim teleport before, but not as much as that gout weed ended up trolling me. What a mess. Finishing this quest meant I finally had the stats to do Legends Quest, the last quest requirement for finishing Recipe for Disaster. We started the quest figuring out how dumb it was to have to chop through the jungle forestry to get literally anywhere important. Seriously, why does that have to be so aggravating? Next, I made my way through the underground cave for the first time, including random rocks, potentially inappropriate noises to push down a door, and an extremely easy hurdle that my 78 agility should have helped me jump over unscathed. Seriously, why do we even need levels? I attended a light show, picked up the binding book, participated in some impromptu meditation, all so I could come back and battle the Big Ugly. He never stood a chance. I fought the 3 dudes to make a pretty crystal heart before fighting the same Big Ugly again. Seriously, why do I have to keep fighting this guy? By the end of the quest, I had to fight him a total of 3 times. I was a little fed up towards the end, thinking to myself, you again? Give it a rest, buddy. But I did end up finishing the quest without dying and without raging too terribly much, so I think of it as a win. Next, after doing Legends Quest, I went after the mini quests that I could in Recipe for Disaster on stream, while skilling off stream to get the cooking requirement of 70. I saved the Monkey King's rescue for last, so I could have as much time as I could to get to 70. The mini quests I chose to do were the freeing of the ogre, ceramic vase, and evil Dave. That's a chocobo, don't even at me! To free the ogre, I had my first experience with a chocobo in RuneScape. I mean a jubbly bird. No, I don't. I freed the ogre and set out to free ceramic vase. Don't even get me started on his name. I killed an evil chicken and spent way too much time killing my first black dragon ever. After that, I met a tiny dragon that offered me one single wish, so of course, like any OSRS player, I asked him to flambe my brulee. You heard me. I also freed Evil Dave from the grasp of the Time Warp and had a great time wondering who Jagex was really taking some jabs at with the comments about him living in his mom's basement. Next, we decided to do Taibo Wanai Trio for the quest points and anticipated ability to catch and cook carambwans for future content I'd be able to do that required higher healing food, which is apparently coming soon. I was doing great, especially enjoying the cinematics, until we figured out all the way at the end of the quest that I had given the guy fighting the giant lion a 3-dose agility potion instead of a 4-dose. Guys, I do know how to read, I promise. So after figuring out that Toadflax is dropped by literally nothing I could fight except tree spirits, I was introduced to the agility arena and was escorted through by my viewers. Ultimately, I did finish the quest itself without dying, but with a lot of derps. What else can you expect though? After finishing those quests, I was introduced off-stream to barbarian fishing for a pretty sweet AFK task that also got some agility and strength XP. In case you're wondering, yes, I would still like to have agility be my first 99. Barbarian fishing helped me to get 65 fishing so I could fish for carambwans and get some really good cooking XP out of them. When I finally got 65 fishing, I headed to Karamja, got an ass ton of carambwanji, and fished my first carambwans. I even got some fishing levels out of it. Nice. So I figured out I needed to cook about 1900 carambwans to get to level 70 cooking. And with the number that I knew I was going to burn, I was definitely there for a while. Another notable discovery before finishing the quests was a scaper over in Varrock working on smithing with a bucket on his head. Does anyone have any suggestions as to why he'd be doing this? Inquiring minds would like to know. So after getting my cooking to level 70 via carambwans, I freed the Lumbridge guide and finally went on to the last mini quest of Recipe for Disaster, freeing the Monkey King. I'm not even going to try to say his name because I embarrass myself enough as it is. So rescuing the Monkey King was an absolute mess and a half, and I'd like to know who is getting a laugh over at Jagex because there is a RuneScape wiki page all about nuts and what to do with them. But there's literally nothing anyone can do about it because it's such a pivotal part in the quest. But after all the shenanigans for literally the past 2 months, getting the stats, doing the minigames, and raging over Iron Woman problems, it was finally time for the boss fight. Well, boss fights. I found out there were 6 of them. Before heading back to Lumbridge though, we reached a huge milestone, 80 agility. I even had a party with some of my viewers at the finish line. I did get 80 fire making a few days prior, but it just wasn't the same satisfaction as 80 agility. I was then escorted around my inaugural lap of the Relica agility course, where I'll now spend my time until level 90. Now, just as I was going to start the boss fights for Recipe for Disaster, you know something had to go wrong, right? It wouldn't be me if I didn't screw something up along the way. Lo and behold, I only had 174 quest points, and I needed 175 to start the boss fights. So, in the category of quick and useless, I did the Clock Tower quest. Riveting. I wonder what I'll do with those 500 coins. But finally, it was time for the finale of Recipe for Disaster. We started out with the Banana Man, and he really wasn't anything to write home about, just the fact that he had a very interesting fighting style. Right about now, I was really glad I got over 1,000 carambwans on my fishing and cooking grind because I was gonna need them. Next, I fought a giant cake-looking thing that was kind of a similar fighting style to the first boss, so nothing to write home about. But right now, I want to take this opportunity to shout out my amazing streaming community. With each boss, they were right there cheering me on, and I consider myself extremely lucky to have such support from all of them. I would definitely not be where I am now without them. So the third boss got off to kind of a rough start. I forgot my restore potions and didn't realize it until I got in the arena. I fucked up. Yeah, that was almost pretty bad, but I didn't die, so I take that as a win. And after getting the appropriate tools, I went back into the arena and got ish done. Next came the Recipe for Disaster version of the Dagonoth Mother, which I had such a hard time with in Horror of the Deep. I'd show you a clip of the fail, but I unfortunately didn't start recording my streams until after that. I was the ultimate noob at that point. I have never clicked as fast as I clicked during this fight. I would not be a good PKer. This fight took 6 minutes and I went through every single one of my carambwans, but I was able to do it without any help and without dying. I'd say that right there helped me graduate from maybe Noob 101 to Noob 102. After that fiasco, the culinary what's-his-nuts didn't even stand a chance. And with that, Recipe for Disaster was finished. With the experience lamp, I got my herb lore up to 52, and then came the newest flex, Barrow's gloves. Comparing them to the steel gloves I had before, there was literally no comparison at all. And the fashionscape isn't so bad either. My next goal after some brainstorming has now become the Dragon Defender. This means that I'll need my attack and strength to 65, which I'm going to accomplish through Slayer. After finishing my Blood Belts task, finally, I upped my strength level quickly with a quick grind of Ammonite crabs before meeting my new Slayer Master, Konar. That's right, my combat level is now 75. And while IronHops is continuing to fly through the levels, I didn't do much on SkillerHops over these last 2 weeks, so her levels of fishing and cooking are the same. Along with the Dragon Defender, I'm going to continue going for 99 agility and questing for the best fashionscape. Catch me on Twitch so you can be part of the shenanigans too. Thanks for hopping by, and I'll see you next time.